Hi middle school friends, it's me Sheree from the Monroe County Library System, and I'm here today to share some fantastic stories in all these books. I want to start by saying the first week of October is designated as Banned Book Week, not B-A-N-D like a band that you listen to, but B-A-N-N-E-D, books that people have challenged more books in libraries and in schools this year than any other because they feel that they're inappropriate or shouldn't be accessible, especially to kids. In the library world, we feel that every family has a right to decide what it is they want to read. So I want to let you know about Banned Book Week and what's happening out there. And a great introduction is Ban This Book. This is by Alan Gratz. It's a story of a girl who comes back to school in September, excited to check her favorite book out of the library, but when she goes to get it, she finds out it's been taken off the shelf because they're considering whether it will continue to be available. It's called, the book, by the way, is The Mixed Up Files of Mrs. Basil and Frankweiler, a fabulous book. When she's so angry, she gets her own copy and brings it to school and lends it to a friend. And over the next couple of weeks, she's bringing a lot of books in and lending them to a lot of people till her locker pretty much becomes a library full of banned books that all the kids are borrowing from. They include Junie B. Jones books, Captain Underpants, which is often challenged. And remember I told you Alan Gratz wrote this? A lot of you have read Alan Gratz books, Refugee, and particularly 2 Degrees. We talked a lot about this last week, all about climate change and the story of 3 kids whose lives are being affected by it, one in a wildfire, one in a hurricane, and one in the Arctic North. So if you are interested in knowing more about what book banning is and how it comes about, this is a great story. These are some of the books that have been challenged or banned in different places across the country. I also want to mention The Attack of the Black Rectangles. This is a similar story about censorship. When kids pick up the books that they're supposed to read for their reading circle, they find that certain words have been blacked out. And the book that they're reading is The Devil's Arithmetic, which is a story about a girl in a Nazi concentration camp. The author is Jane Yolen, and her book not only appears in Attack of the Black Rectangles, she makes a guest appearance, and they talk about what kids should be able to read on their own and what should be censored. So I wanted to mention those. There's also some great graphic novels that I wanted to point out. This is a brand new, it's The Ghost Book, and this is about a little girl who is Asian American, and she has a lot of mythology from Asia, and this is when the ghost shows up, a ghost from one of the legends and myths of Asia, and what she does to get rid of it. There's a twist when you find out who else really knows about the ghost. It was a great read, and it is a graphic novel, so if you prefer something with a lot more pictures than page after page of reading, that's for you. This is Mexikid. This is a true story about the author's growing up as a Mexican American, living here in America, but one summer his family takes a road trip back to Mexico because they're gonna pick up his grandpa, who is gonna come live with them because he's too old to stay on his own. The story of the trip, the story of the boy and his grandpa are really funny, but it's also a great graphic novel, and you're really getting insight into what the author experienced. I want to talk about anthologies for a minute. Those are books that collect a lot of the same kind of things, in this case, short stories. You can see that I have a bunch of them here. This is the newest one I read. It's called You Are Here, and it's the stories of several different Asian American kids whose planes are delayed in an airport. So it's all about what's happening to them, where they came from, how they're trying to get someplace else. Each story is written by an amazing young author. Some of them we've talked about: Erin Entrada Kelly, Grace Lynn, Ellen O, Linda Sue Park, Susan Tan. There's books that are anthologies of funny stories, of baseball stories, of diversity. There's one called The Ice Cream Machine, which is all stories about ice cream. Some of these short stories are written by one author, some are a collection of authors, but the idea is you're not reading one long story in the book, you can read a bunch of different short ones. So you can pick it up anywhere, read a little bit, and then move on. I want to end with 2 books that kind of take us back in time. This is Rewind, this is Throwback. So you can tell they're both taking us back in the past. This one is about a kid who ends up back in the 90s and is surprised to find herself there, let's say, and has to figure out what she needs to do in order to get back. Throwback is really similar, except when this girl is thrown back to the 90s, she finds herself becoming friends with her own mom when her mom was a teenager. They don't get along very well now as mother and daughter. They don't get along very well when their friendship starts out, but a lot of things happen, and she realizes she's been sent there for a reason, and that's what she needs to do to get back. So I can't tell you any more than that because they're kind of spoilers, but Rewind, Throwback, I had a lot of fun reading them as throwbacks to the past, even though I was a little freaked out that the 90s was considered throwback. All of these are available at the Monroe County Library System. You can download some of them to your own device. You can come in and borrow them. All you need to do either is a library card. If you don't have one, come into any branch. It'll take a couple minutes. It's absolutely free. And then all these stories are yours. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great month.